So a while back, someone had asked me to do a video on my homemade Pickeroon, or Pickeroon, whatever you want to call this thing. It didn't cost me anything to build. I pretty much reused materials here, and thought I'd make this video and show you guys what it looks like. So the handle here is off of an old splitting maul handle. This had actually been sitting out in a flower bed for I think around 1 or 2 years, somewhere around there, just out in the elements. And of course the end had rotted off, or we had broke the head off, and of course the frayed pieces of wood were starting to rot. And I put a finish on it. I think this is just polyurethane. I'm not real sure. So I cut it to length. How long is this thing? 9, 18, 27, maybe 31 or 32 inches long. And then I took a piece of pipe, an old piece of pipe that we had laying around, and I squished it to fit the handle, and then I put a couple of bolts in the end. Those are some old bolts. Whenever you see that they're square, those are some old lag bolts. And then I put, what's in here? Oh, a couple screws I put just to flare out the wood so it would actually hold. And then, 2 screws, and then 2 lag bolts. Hold that on. It is a little loose, just a very little bit. What I may do is put a bolt or 2 going through here, and then really tighten those up. Maybe even use grade 8 or something. And then for the spike, I used, this is just another bolt. You can still see the threading on it. And how I made this, I chucked this end up into a drill and then turned the drill on, and then I just sat there with an angle grinder, and then I turned this. But it's still pretty sharp. I haven't used it a whole lot because I generally just cut the logs now into 6-foot pieces, and then I just pick them all up with the pickup truck crane. So I'm not saying I don't use this, but it's definitely a nice tool to have. And then I took my welder, just my little 90 amp flex wire welder from Harbor Freight, and then I welded this onto the pipe, and it works pretty good. I would like to bend the tip a little more. Next time, I think what I'll do is I'll put where it finally gets to the final thickness here before the taper, I'll take this and clamp it in the vise, and then get some leverage on it out here, and then I can pretty easily bend it. Because if you notice, a lot of the Hookeroons or Pickeroons, I guess it's called a Pickeroon, they have a hook at the end, so whenever it sticks into the wood, it'll hold better, and that does seem to work pretty good. The next thing I'd like to make, or the next one of these, I'd like to make it all out of steel. Make the entire handle out of steel. It doesn't have to be too thick, but I want it relatively strong. I have a piece of pipe laying around in here that would probably work just fine. And then I want to take I have threaded rod just over on the side here, up there. And then I can take a nut that matches that, and then weld the nut onto the piece of pipe and fill in the edges with the welder. And then this piece is replaceable because now I have to cut this off and then re-weld it, which, I mean, it's not a big deal, but it would be nice if I could just take this off with a wrench or something, and then keep sharpening it, and of course it'll get shorter and shorter and shorter, and then I'll still have to put the bend in it, which really isn't it's not a problem. It's not an issue for me. So I thought you guys might like to see that. It works pretty good. I really like it. It's a very, very handy tool to have. Another thing, I want to build a pick pole, which actually just has a long handle with a straight point on the end, so this point would be down here, and then you can just stab the pieces of wood, and that will pick them. You can pick them up that way also. I bought myself a selfie stick, and that's why the video looks a little different. My phone's further out from me, but it's the selfie stick extends, and then my phone clamps in it, and then there's a little button on the handle here, and then there's a thing that goes into the where you plug your earphones in, and that I can turn the videos on and off with that, or record and pause the video or stop the video. But it works pretty good. I really like it. I bought myself another chainsaw, and so be looking for that in the probably within the next week or two for that video. It's just a little one. It's not a big one, but it's definitely a saw I've wanted for a long, long time. So I think that's about all I have to say for this video. Thank you all for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more.